Well, that's looking forward, but we're going to look back now. They were called the Canary Girls, the women who were exposed to toxic chemicals which turned their skin and hair yellow. They worked at munitions factories during the two world wars, but their work has largely gone unrecognised. Well, BBC Hereford and Worcester are launching a campaign to try and change that. Sarah Bishop has been to meet one woman who was one of just a handful of survivors.
I was 18 years of age, yes. I was a bit shy, really, I think.
In 1942, Nancy Billings was one of over 2,000 women working at the Rotherwas munitions factory in Hereford.
I was in empty shell, and it was quite hard work, really, heavy work, and not very clean work either, because we had to clean the shells and prepare them ready to be filled.
At dawn on the 27th of July, the air raid siren sounded.
Betty, my friend, she was just worked opposite to me, and she ran round and grabbed my arm, and she said, "Nancy, come on, we get out." And we raced down the corridor, and when we got out, the air raid shelters were locked, and the very next thing was this aircraft that came down so low. You could see the swastika, and you could almost see the pilot. He came down so low, and Betty shouted at me, "Nancy, Nancy, put your hands over your face, put your hands over your face." So I did, and then the bombs dropped, and it was just mayhem then, absolute mayhem.
The Germans had dropped at least two 250-kilogram bombs. Nancy and her friend Betty were the only two survivors out of a unit of 30 women.
I was so shaken and trembling, and I thought, oh my God, oh my God, but I've never ever wanted to think about it after that. I just wanted to forget it.
Nancy didn't even tell her own family of her remarkable escape until just a few years ago. The factory where she worked still stands. It's on the edge of an industrial estate.
I think in the long term, our children and our children's children will need to know more about this site. And I know there have been plans to somehow celebrate it in some way, perhaps with a visitor centre, a museum or something like that. That would be great. It needs to happen.
Having lost two sisters and her father in the war, Nancy went on to marry and have 3 children of her own. She's now 93. And says unlike women who were in the Land Army, she's had no letter from the Queen, no public acknowledgement of what she and thousands of other munitions workers did. Sarah Bishop, BBC Midlands Today, in Hereford.
Well, some extraordinary stories and recollections from Nancy, and we've already had some other lovely memories on Facebook as well. Paula Cade sent us this picture of her grandmother sitting at a machine behind a table of bullets in a munitions factory. Paula thinks she'd have been between 16 and 20 years old. While Mike King posted this picture of his mother, who worked in the Rotherwas factory, in Hereford during World War II, and his grandmother is in this large group photo taken in the same factory in 1918. Incredible pictures. Thank you so much to everybody who got in touch with your memories and views about the campaign, and I suspect we may get a few more.